sir. I'm going to call on Mr. Evans now for this powerful session. Mr. Evans Woherem is the chairman for Digital Africa. So please come on stage and let's have this interesting session. So actually, I'll be the one talking to him, and I'll be asking him a few questions. We'll be talking about rewriting the rules, Africa's role in the global AI standards and methodologies. Sir, you don't mind if I stand here? Is that okay? All right. Can we have another mic for him? Okay. All right. Great.
Thank you.
Okay, during the last session, there's something I picked out. He said a tool cannot replace the user. That was quite insightful. A tool cannot replace the user. We're always afraid, how is this tool going to replace us? But then a colleague of mine further said, only users can replace users. That means if Mr. A is a user and you are Mr. B, but you put yourself, you attend conferences like this, you listen to conversations like this, you build yourself in the AI methodologies, you are in a better position to replace user B. So tools won't replace users, but users can end up replacing users. So that means we need to keep upskilling ourselves, and putting ourselves in a level where tools can replace us, and even per people or users, they'll find it very hard to replace us as well. All right, let's get started to it. Just a moment. Okay, Dr. Evans, it's great to have you here. And I would like to start off this particular session with just one question. You know, when we talk about writing rules of artificial intelligence, you threw some light on it on your first opening remark. Who do you think truly holds the pen right now in defining the global AI ethics? And what will it take for Africa to basically grab that pen? Or are we just going to keep waiting for permission? Or what is it that we are about to do at the moment? So I'd like you to help us with that, sir.
Thank you very much for that question. Well, we can look at it from about 2 or 3 dimensions. Today, we have the people that are majorly creating the AI systems we use today. And most of them are in the developed parts of the world. Of course, you know, some are in other places like China, South Korea. But they are the ones that are developing the AI systems we are using today. In one of my papers, I called them the AI intelligentsia.
Okay, intelligentsia.
Now, somebody might even say that, oh, but that I'm one of them. But I'll say, yeah, I understand their motivations. To an extent, some of those motivations are mine. But I've also gone beyond, you know, to also understand how things are playing, you know, out. Now, the AI intelligentsia, what is motivating them is to develop something that definitely is going to solve problems in the world, you know, today. Things that can use intelligence to solve those problems. But having said that, that's not all that is motivating them. What is also motivating a lot of the core members of the AI intelligentsia is to build something that is as intelligent as a human being. The fact that if you look at AI, there are different categories of AI. There are narrow domain AIs that solve problems in narrow domains. There are broad AI that solve problems in different areas. Just like human beings are able to do so many things. Human beings have what is called apart from the fact that we're sentient, we're alive, we have what is called intelligence. We have all manners of human intentionalities, be it the ability to understand a language, ability to understand a story, ability to talk, ability to communicate, ability to be an expert in a particular domain. Those are some of the things that make us humans. So what the AI intelligentsia want to do is to create the digital equivalent of humans. So they are not stopping at just developing narrow domain AIs. They are also desirous of creating AI systems that can equal humans. And that's the reason why we also have categories like artificial general intelligence. An artificial general intelligence system is a system that has grown to the point that it really is like a human being. Do you get it? It's really like a human being. Now, if you give a test to that person and give it to a human being also, you can see that the person will be as good as the human. And that the person can even beat, the human. And part of that motivation, some people say, is to prove that there's no big deal to humanity. Okay, some people say that humans are so unique. But look, we've also created synthetic human beings. We've created systems, that are able to rival, humans. So there are a lot of motivations there. Motivation to solve, to create narrow domain, systems. Motivation to also create, broad, system. Motivations to even create systems that can be like humans, and that probably can also show that humans are, at the end of the day, even our cognitive abilities are replaceable by machines. That's part of it. Now, so they are part of those that are creating these things. So the ethics they follow are based on their own, thinking, and based on the fact that they want to create this kind of, systems. The kind of ethics that drive you and I and most of society are secondary, to them, because they are like scientists. They are pure scientists. They just want to create this kind of, systems. Now, the thing is that in the West also, or in some of these other developed parts, of the world, there are also institutions that are also aiming at moderating the kind of AI systems we develop. So if you go to universities like MIT, if you go to universities like Oxford, you see they have institutes for the ethics of AI, where they study the ethics of AI. Also, you find out, so those kind of institutions are moderating the views of people, are making people to realize that AI, if not checked properly, can have impacts that can even be deleterious. So for that reason, they are churning out, research that is making us to realize that, look, we can't develop this thing in this manner. We should probably try to develop it in certain manner at the end of the day, so that it will be in alignment with what is good, for humans. As I said, before, AI can give us the good, and that's what we really want. All the good things, and there are many good things AI can give us. As I said earlier in the morning, AI can really give us a lot more abundance in the world, whether it's food, whether it's to do with medicine, whether it's to do with all the technologies, we want that will enable us to produce and so on and so forth. AI is capable of giving us a lot of that. And we should all try to exploit AI in order to enable it to provide all this to us. But we should also realize that AI has the ability to also give us the bad and perhaps even the ugly. And that's the reason why we have to, be very careful. So ethics is from the AI intelligentsia, but it's also what is happening at some of these, digital institutes. And some of these countries have started taking it seriously. In the West, they've now started coming up with all kinds of legislations, policies, regulations that are going to moderate how we develop these systems. In Europe, they've done that. They've come up, with that. Even America is trying to also imitate. China, is done, the same thing. So that's what's driving them, because left unchecked, it could, become a law word. Let me comment on what you commented before, you asked my question. And that is to do with a point made by my friend and brother, Professor, Joe Amadi Echendu, where he said that a builder, that an AI cannot replace the person that created it, more or less. In a way, he's right, in a way. But he's right in the short and perhaps the medium term. But when you look at the medium to long term, perhaps we don't know. Perhaps, we don't know. And that's the reason why we are, taking it serious. In fact, a lot of people will bet that in the medium to long, term, it is going to take away almost all jobs. Now, if you look at the technologies of the first and second industrial revolution, they came. Yeah? People like Daniel Bell, people like Marx, they plotted, some of these technologies. They de-skilled, craft people, but created many more jobs. They removed jobs of so many people in factories, yeah, but also created a lot more, jobs. So as a result of that, people are believing that where technology takes, technology also gives even more. Yeah, but some people have also started pointing out that no, that's probably true to technologies that are prosthetics to our hands, to our eyes, and so on. But AI is a prosthetic for our even brain. And somebody by the name Martin Ford, he said that because AI is there and has the ability to really take over completely any job that is done with intelligence, it means, in effect, that the jobs of almost everybody can also, go. Because really, for time immemorial, managers of organizations, yeah, wherever managers see a tool that can assist them to do away with some workers, they would like to introduce that too, isn't it? They would like to introduce that too, because a lot of managers feel that 100 workers means 100 headaches for them. So if there's a tool that can reduce some of this, that's a good thing. And that's the reason why in the West, in so many other countries, even India, even countries like Kenya, they've started coming up with the concept of a universal pay, a universal, salary, in anticipation of a period in which technology would take over most of the jobs, of people. But that's me being a little bit, academic, my brother. But in the short to medium term, at least we should all, try to feel, no, it's not as if technology is coming out. It's not as if all our jobs are going to go in this, short to medium term. And that could be a long term. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a proper answer. So as you were talking, somebody just put my so what type of jobs are AI proof? We don't need to answer that now. Let's just we can talk about that later. But just think about what kind of jobs really are AI proof. So my next question here goes to talk about what you mentioned about digital institutes that kind of govern the kind of way these models are being built. So I'd like to ask: are there digital institutes like that around Africa or in Nigeria? Or then again, I'll say it this way: most AI models are trained on Western data and values, which means they often misinterpret African realities. From your perspective, how can Africa build AI that doesn't just translate languages, but understands our culture, our context, and basically everything around us? And also, furthermore, the institutes that basically help us regulate this particular kind of development.
Unfortunately, there are not many of those kind of institutes in Africa. Not really any in Nigeria. In South Africa, a few in South Africa. The African Union also has a department that also looks at some of these deleterious potential impacts of technology generally, of information technology, and in more particular of AI. Now, having said that, to answer your question about what we need to do to make sure we domesticate this thing appropriately within our own environment, we can only do so when we realize that, one, there's something I call technology paradox or AI paradox. It will give us the good, fine, let's exploit it for the betterment of our society. But there are also some potential harmful effects. Let's watch out, for those. AI, like most other technologies, can be bad if designed in certain manners for an individual, for an organization, or even for a whole country, or even for a whole world. Yeah? So, in terms of regulations that can make sure that people develop whatever they are developing, they develop according to certain restrictions. Those kind of regulations are better provided by governments. So here in Nigeria, we are even supposed to also have those kind of institutes or departments that are responsible for coming up with policies and regulations that are going to inform how we develop any system that is going to be AI, based in our country. That's very important. Now, at organizational levels, organizations also owe it to themselves to make sure that they have methodologies that can be used to develop systems. Now, in so many parts of the world, the methodologies we use look only at technical functionalities. So when they look for requirements, the requirements analysis are looking only for technical functionalities. But we should have holistic systems based on holistic methodologies. A holistic methodology will aim to develop a system based on looking at not just the technical requirements, the technical functionalities, but also the requirements that are to do with the business itself, the requirements to do with the organization, social requirements, people that are going to use it, user requirements, yeah, and then requirements of the society at large, the context within which the system is being used, requirements that are to do, with with the ethics, yeah, of that particular society. We don't want to introduce a system that is going to change who we are, even as, a people. Because as so many people have said, the system, whoever develops a system, embeds into that system the cultural practices surrounding that person. And when you, in another environment, take hold of that system, unwittingly, you start imbibing some of the cultural practices of that particular, environment. So we must have methodologies, and I called it, some of us have made an attempt at producing such a methodology. There's a methodology that I produced, which was also, published, that is holistic. It looks, in trying to come up with requirements, it looks not just at technical requirements, but it also looks at all these other types of requirements. And then on the basis of that, we make sure we are developing a system that speaks to us, that is true to us, that is true to our own context, true to our own environment, true to our own culture, true to our own organizational environment, and true, to the people that are going to use the system. It's doable. We have started, doing it even here in Africa. Those kind of systems, when produced, are going to be true to us authentically as Africans.
Great, powerful stuff.